What up, everybody? YouTube Live, how's it going? Oh my god, tonight was amazing! Holy crap. Um, Game of Thrones, Season 8, Episode 3, final season, Episode 3, Battle of Winterfell. And I got so many thoughts I want to share with you. And if you have thoughts about tonight's episode too, let me know in the chat or in the comment section below. Before we move forward, just want to give you a heads up. This review or this video contains spoilers. I'll be spilling some spoilers. You got to discuss the stuff that happened in tonight's episode. I can't help it. So yeah, spoiler alert. This review is mainly for those of you, my fellow Game of Thrones fans, who have also watched season 8, episode 3, Battle of Winterfell. Oh my god. Ooh. Mm. Now, I earlier today I posted a poll on both YouTube and Twitter, asking you guys which characters that you think would die in tonight's episode, and I gave like I think 5 options: Samuel Tarly, Brienne of Tarth, Tormund Giantsbane, what else? Gendry. So the majority of you guys, based on those polls, seem to indicate that you thought that Brienne and Tormund would die. But I guess your prediction's a bit off. My prediction's a bit off too, um, because the ones that died are the ones that we did not expect to die. So first of all, I want to go through some of my tweets or some of my notes, and thank you for all of you who retweeted my tweets tonight. I love it. Thank you so much, you guys, for sharing. Um, First up, the episode starts with, look, I get it, right? I get it that the battle, the war, it takes place during nighttime, kind of like the Blackwater. Remember Blackwater battle? Battle of Bastards took place during daytime. So I get it. I get it. Tonight's battle is set during the nighttime. So, but man, during the first few minutes of the episode, I could barely see a thing, man. Like, you know how other shows or in movies generally usually, when a story is set at nighttime, they set it up in a way that you can still see what's happening, either making it seem like you are, I don't know, like you have the help of the moonlight or whatever, even in the dark of the woods. But Game of Thrones, man, they go for that realism shit, man. It's like nighttime. All right, we'll definitely give you nighttime. And of course, luckily, Melisandre shows up, and she helps out with the torch. Because I was like, dude, somebody please turn up the torch lights in this motherfucking place. Sorry, I can't help but curse. I apologize. I'll try to keep the curse to a minimum. And also the first few minutes, the music score. Holy crap, the music score, it sends chills down your spine, man. I mean, it makes the music for the movie Jaws like sound like child's play. I don't know. It's just like the beating of the drum, like boom, boom, boom. Oh man, you can just. It's so suspenseful. It's so. It heightens your like anticipation for what you know it's gonna be just absolutely brutal. Um, Melisandre showing up, I did not expect that. I gotta be honest with you. Now, her character is a mixed bag, man. Because remember, my fellow Game of Thrones fans, in the past, she was so ambitious. She tried to control that. I forgot the guy's name. That so much so that she killed that little girl. At the stake, and I can never forgive her for that. Um, Despite the fact that Melisandre is freaking hot, but the revelation in previous seasons that Melisandre is actually an this old hag, old witch, kind of makes me like, oh, good. I guess she's on her last leg. She's not she's not that hot apparently. So her fate is coming. um, just like what she said to Davos tonight. Sir Davos, like, hey, don't worry, I'll be dead by the dawn. So, when she shows up, those of us who dislike her because of what she did to that little girl, because that whole anger just kind of, get brought up back again. Like, oh my God, fuck you, Melisandre, fuck you for that. Um, but at the same time, we know of her true identity. So I was like, dude, she's like barely holding on. She's like so frail and old. Like she could die. And that's what happens in tonight's episode. She just walks as herself without the necklace and a few steps and then boom, she just falls. So that kind of gives me comfort a little bit. Knowing what she did in the past. Um, first, in the early on of the battle, when I see Daenerys and Jon like all the way in the back, standing far away from the battlefield, I was like, "What's going on?" This, I mean, this is not their style, right? Jon is usually right in the middle of the fight. What's he doing? Like way, like like a freaking coward, like all the way in the back. Um, but I get it as the battle progresses. Like, okay, obviously they have a plan, and obviously I didn't know that they have that trench, so they have some sort of a plan. They know when John should come in, when Daenerys should come in, when the dragon should come in, and uh, I just also want to say that the horse people, the Dothraki, man, they did not stand a chance tonight, bro. Holy crap! They go off into the distance, and then you see like slowly but surely their torches, their lights kind of fade off, and it's like, whoa, it goes back to darkness again. And the White Walkers, I tweeted this, that the White Walkers only have one strategy, and that strategy is to speed bulldoze everything in their way, like everything in their path, just bulldoze it, man. Boom, 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 boom. Damn, those mofos got energy to spare, man. Holy crap. uh and then of course the dragons show up and burn the shit out of the dead. That was fun. Love seeing that. um I want to make a note. I don't know if you guys agree or disagree with me, but this frustrates me. Samuel Tarly, I'm like, I know he wants. I In last episode, he's like, "Hey, I've done all this shit. I killed a walker before." Like, he's trying to act like a tough guy, right? Like, hey, don't treat me like I'm just some kind of a nerd. I've done more than you do, or maybe So like, so fine. So you want to be in the battlefield, fine, but fight, damn it, fight. Is it just me or Samuel Tarly? Like, I don't know. He froze up. I know the Hound froze up tonight, but Samuel Tarly, like there were multiple times in tonight's episode when Samuel Tarly's ass got saved by somebody else, and that somebody else dies because of that. Like, really, Samuel? Like, what's your strategy? Just like wait for somebody to swoop in and kind of like prevent the dead from stabbing you in the eye every single time. I mean, that's why does everybody have to come save your sorry ass, Samuel? Sorry. I get a little. I'm like, oh, Samuel. I like Samuel though, and I'm not hating on him. It's just that, dude, these other guys died, and you're like, oh man, somebody please save my ass again and again. So okay, in terms of the epicness of it, compared to Blackwater and Battle of the Bastards, I don't know. I think the jury's still out on that one. I love how this one ends because it really, I guess the word I'm looking for is magnifies Arya Stark all the more. If you are fans of Arya Stark, tonight makes you even more of a fan. Like, oh yeah, Arya. But Battle of the Bastards, man. I remember when John is like surrounded by those bodies, those moving bodies. If me as an audience watching that, it just feels suffocating. Um, I fear for many of the characters in this episode tonight, but not once did I feel like I'm gasping for air, like Jon Snow did in that Battle of the Bastards. I was like, whoa, like wow, this guy's really pinned down in the middle of these other folks. Um, so I think the jury's still out on that one. I might do a ranking video, maybe ranking the battles in Game of Thrones. That would be a great video to have, right? So that's something that I'd probably consider doing. So stay tuned for that if that does happen. Um, Now Theon and Bran and Tyrion and Sansa, each of those couples have their moments, and they're pondering how things could have gone differently had they, the woulda, shoulda, coulda moment. Like Tyrion has this heartfelt moment with Sansa right when they think that they're about to die on top of that cabinet. And of course, Theon and Brent. Theon, man, holy crap! Gotta give credit to Theon, bro. The guy might not have a dick, but holy crap, that he fought like hell, man. He fought really well for a genitalia less, for a ball less, for a dickless guy. He fought like hell. Um, Now, one thing I noted here is the strategy of Winterfell. It's flawed. It's flawed. For one, they fail to take into account that the Night King can raise the dead. Like how did they miss that? How the hell did they miss that? Like after 7, 8 seasons, like really nobody has that knowledge. Um, that the Night King can, turn every other dead people into one of his. Like really, really. So that what's the word I'm looking for here? That oversight is unacceptable, bro. It's unacceptable. The other one is I see you, Caesar Augustus. I'll answer you real quick. Um, the other one is the trench. The trench is a good strategy. Don't get me wrong, but it's not effective, man. Obviously, in tonight's episode, freaking the Night King just raises his hand a little bit, and his army of dead or the White Walkers start stacking their bodies on top of one another, thus building a bridge. So then the other, White Walkers can walk over them to get to get across. I'm like, dude, clever girl, like that Jurassic Park, moment, like clever girl, when he's like hunting the trap. It's like, dude, of course they could do that, and they don't feel pain because they're dead. so 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 the bodies over that trench could still rise up and fight too. It's like really, really. I think the Winterfell strategy is a bit or significantly flawed, I should say. Um, Caesar Augustus says, "What dagger did Arya have? Didn't she give Sansa Littlefinger's dagger?" That's true. That's a good question, Caesar. Yeah, there's a scene in this episode when she gives that dagger to Sansa. I'm as confused as you are. I'm as confused as you are as what dagger does she use at the end in killing the Night King. Could I don't want to say it's a random dagger that she finds. Who knows? Um, but that is a good question. That's a good question. Perhaps she has a spare. I don't know. but but her trick is really really smart because I thought for 1 second there that the Night King is gonna snap her neck. Because he kind of holds her by the neck. It's like that's it. That's the end of Arya, and Arya doesn't get to kill Cersei. But man, she drops that dagger, and then with the other hand, bam, right to the gut. Holy shit! I did not expect that, and I love that. Um, wow, wow. Now, there's one moment that I think really, really stays with me is when Melisandre says, what do you say to the god of death? And then Arya says, not today. And of course, for those of you, my fellow Game of Thrones fans, that take us back to years ago when Arya started um, learning how to handle a sword with that one teacher of hers. And of course, that became a meme ever since. Not today. What do you say to death? Not today. So for that phrase to come around, full circle and meet us again in this final season, it's just absolutely epic. Um, when it comes to the library scene, whew, the library has never been that scary, man. In any movies or TV shows. I mean, like you, just like Arya, we were like holding our breath, and instead of a pin drop, it's a blood drop. It's like makes that much noise. I was like, wow. It reminds me of also that one scene in Jurassic Park in the kitchen, with those two little kids. Usually, thrillers and horror movies often have that kind of sequence, or often have that kind of scene, um, where it's all just suspense and quiet, and it's you and the creature or the creatures in this case, and it's nicely done. That whole library scene in tonight's episode is nicely executed. Um, I tweeted jokingly, said that, hey, maybe tonight's episode will have the same ending as the first Hobbit movie, where at the very last desperate minute, uh, giant eagles, swoop in and rescued Bilbo and friends. Well, that giant eagle turned out to be Arya in this case, so that's pretty cool. Um, Help me out here. Why did the Daenerys' dragon stay on that ground for too long? Like once the dead kind of like climb on top of his tail, on top of his body, of course they start like shanking and stabbing, and then the dragon flies and kind of does a Taylor Swift, shake it off, shake it off. I'm like, why can't you just fly early on? Like, why stick around that long for the dead to climb on top of you? Speaking of which, dragon versus dragon fight, oh, it was so gnarly. The the way that whole thing is choreographed or staged, man, you see the scratching, you see the ice dragon try to get at Jon Snow, and then at the last minute, freaking Daenerys' dragon comes in and knocks the Night King off of his dragon. Oh, it was just amazing, amazing. What a sight to behold. The, if only if only that happened in the daytime, because man, still at times I find myself like, oh, what I can't really see here, it's too dark. And I'm watching it from my laptop, and I turn up the light on the screen. It's still, man, still doesn't work. I was like, what the, oh man. Ah, that's just amazing. And so, okay, let's discuss the deaths. Let's discuss the deaths. So who died in tonight's episode? First up is Lyanna Mormont, right? I did not see that one coming. I have always thought that she was this badass little girl, and I always cheer for her. Like, yeah, I mean, the way she commands, man, her presence is just so awesome. And so, but the writers gave her a courageous death. She pretty much comes face to face with that giant and stabs the giant in the eye. Even, right after the giant, of course, squeezes her, um, and pretty much breaks her back or some sort. So that's a brave death. That is a fantastic, brave, bloody, gruesome, but brave and courageous. And if Liana has to go out, I'm glad that she goes out that way, in that manner. Um, uh, what's the other character? Jorah Mormont. Okay. Um, Jorah Mormont, he dies protecting Daenerys. Now Daenerys, remember, because the dragon is trying to shake off the dead off of its body, and so Daenerys finds herself on the ground, and then Jorah Mormont um, tries to fend off the dead from attacking Daenerys. And there are times, as you know from this episode or as you've seen, where Daenerys tries to also kind of meet Jorah Mormont halfway. So whenever he swings, and then she swings the other direction, and whenever he gets stabbed, she fights back and stabs the dead that just stabbed Jorah Mormont. So she tries to do her part, but I think there are moments when I feel like she, and you can't really blame Daenerys. Daenerys is not inherently a soldier, but I think there are parts or there are moments when I feel like she's a few steps away from Jorah Mormont. I don't know if that's intentional or purpose, but it's like, girl, like, can't you just go back to back, like have your back against his back, and fight around like that? Like, why you gotta be like a distance away from Jorah Mormont? I don't get that. I really don't understand that. Um, but yeah, Jorah Mormont dies, and bravely too. So a proper ending also for that character, just like Lyanna. Uh, what else? Who else? Oh, Brienne. We thought that Brienne and Jamie were gonna die, but no. There were moments when they almost died, but Brienne and Jamie have each other's back. Whenever one is in trouble, the other, would kind of jump in and fight off the dead around him. It's like, wow, they really care for each other. Those two guys, Jamie and Brienne. So good for them. Good for them. Let's see here. Daniel Blasamo says Bran should have warged into the whites and won the battle in 5 milliseconds. Yeah, yeah, he probably should have. He should have done that. I mean, Bran unleashes his power a little bit. The three-eyed raven power, but I think you can agree with me that Bran, for the most part in this episode, was pretty useless. I'm like, I'm like, really, Bran? That's your only contribution to the fight, to the battle, really, Bran? Simba Trey says, can't believe all that hype was for this disappointing episode. Like, really, Night King and all army is gone just like that. Shaking my head. Andrew Bowman says, I hated this episode. Why? Why did you hate this episode? Why'd you hate this episode, Andrew? Why did you find this episode disappointing, Simba? If you can elaborate on that. I think the way like the night, because the theory is, as I mentioned last week, if you kill the Night King, then all the dead will fall, right? So that's not a new concept. That's a concept that's been done before in science fiction or medieval fantasy. Um, in for example, the Avengers 2012, when Iron Man nukes that one ship in the outer space, and then all the bad guys died, all the villains died, right? So it's nothing new. But I think I don't mind that concept at all being applied to this one, to Game of Thrones. Um, where the army of the Night King army just got just fall, and it's just gone just like that once the Night King dies. I don't mind that at all. I would rather have it that way as opposed to the battle continuing on to the next episode. You know, I'd rather have the battle just starts and ends with this episode, and so I like that. I really do. I really do. And as I mentioned before, it highlights, it magnifies, it amplifies Arya Stark even more. So I'm just like super stoked right now for Arya, because she lost her virginity last week, and tonight she freaking rocked. And I really want her to be the one to kill Cersei. I really want her to be the one to kill Cersei Lannister. That would be like, I mean, I don't care who gets the throne, right? I'm sure Sansa and Jon and Daenerys will fight between them about the Iron Throne. But as far as Cersei's fate, it has to fall in the hands of Arya. Only that can I be satisfied. I think that would be a pretty cool uh, outcome, pretty cool outcome. So let's hope that that is what's going to happen. What else? Before I finish my review here, there's some other things I have on my note. No. Oh, okay. One last thing. I said this on my Twitter, and I tweeted like, you see, that's the problem with zombies or the dead who can run fast or who can sprint like Olympians, because they have unfair advantage. I prefer the George Romero's slow walking ones. Dude, holy crap. Oh man, that scene where, because after the hound freezes up, and it's like, hey, what about her? Because the hound really cares, genuinely cares for Arya. Um, so the hound and that guy with the eye patch go through the hall, and they encounter Arya. Arya's about to get killed by the walkers, but then the eye patch guy kind of helps, steps in, and man, that hallway part, as Arya runs from one hallway to the next, and then the cameras, shows us the zombies chasing her. Oh, dude. Your pulse is just pounding through that scene. It's like, oh, they're gaining on you. They're getting close. They're getting close. Oh, see, that's the problem with zombies who can run fast. Uh, they have unfair advantage. They really do. They really do. So I'm. Oh, the last death before I can close this review is Theon Greyjoy. Theon Greyjoy. I mentioned earlier that he fought like hell in defense of Bran. Um, in the past, in previous seasons, we've seen Theon Greyjoy go through his character evolution of his character from a cocky, snotty, little bastard. Well, bastard is for Jon Snow. Little dick, basically, right? Who doesn't care anybody for anybody but himself. He always plays an angle, but now he comes to this point in his character where he's like very heroic, um, very protective, and comes to the realization, you know what, this is what I need to do, and it just I don't know, it just makes you feel like, wow, for Jorah and Theon and Lyanna, like these are really good people that died tonight. Like the ones that died tonight are not like, oh, I'm so glad that that character dies. Maybe Melisandre, because Melisandre dies as well. Maybe that one I won't shed a tear for, but the other three, I'm like, oh man, such shame, because they're really cool people. So we're really gonna miss them very much. Um, so rest in peace, you guys. um, that's it. That's all I have on my note. Overall, fantastic season 8, episode 3. Um, Compared to Blackwater and Battle of the Bastards, I would okay. Between those three, if you ask me, hey Rama, how do you rank those three? Blackwater, Battle of the Bastards, and Battle of Winterfell. I think I'm gonna put Blackwater on the bottom, Battle of Winterfell number 2 in the middle, and the best one is still to me is Battle of the Bastards. So that's my ranking for those three ones. So what do you think? Do you disagree or do you agree with me? And what did you think about tonight's episode if you've seen it too? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I want to hear them, okay? Please share them. And thank you for chatting with me, Caesar, Daniel, Simba, and Andrew. And please don't forget to subscribe, press that like button, ring that bell. And if you can help support this channel, please do so at patreon.com/ramascreen. As always, let's rock this.